Alright, hey YouTube, this is KS Reefing here. This is going to be a whole new video series here. I know some of you guys might have checked out my innovative Marine Nouveau 30 build. This is where I'm at now. We are moved on to a 60-gallon Reef Ready Cube, frameless, rimless, made by Marine Land with a corner overflow. I've mentioned it before in my previous videos. I have kind of always been one that's had a all-in-one tank, and I'm kind of to the point now where I have decided to move away from that and venture into the world of overflows and having a sump underneath, just for the ease of being able to do maintenance on the tank. It makes it a lot easier. So this is what we've got. Right now I've got about 65, 70 pounds of dry Marco rock with some Carib Sea 40 pounds of live sand. Okay, so I used the Dr. Tim's one and only to get this cycle started. Added the ammonia. Took me about 2 weeks to kind of get it going. Ended up throwing some corals in here right now. I ended up having a 20 long tank that was holding a lot of my corals. In the meantime, what ended up happening is I took off my reef keeper to install onto this tank here, and what ended up happening was one of my heaters ended up getting stuck in the on position. Thermostat wouldn't work on it anymore, and I ended up coming back home from shift one day, and the tank was 90 degrees. Not good. So this is kind of a little bit of a heads up to you guys out there that don't have a reef controller. Highly recommend that you invest in one. Go online, find one on eBay, find one from Reef to Reef or whatever forms that you guys follow. Look for someone that's trying to sell one. This one that I have the Reef Keeper Lite Plus. Okay. I love this one. I've got two outlets here, or sorry, not outlets, but two power bars that have 4 outlets on each of them, so I can control up to 8 things. Okay. I also have a temp and a pH probe back there, and then also I have the auto top off that is made with the Reef Keeper as well, which sits down here in the return chamber. Okay. Highly recommend that you guys end up investing in one of these because they do save your butt. Had I have had that on my tank that had all my corals in it, this would never have happened. So I'm probably going to end up losing about 50% of the corals that I ended up having. So just kind of a heads up. I know my pH says about 8.46 right now. I did just recently dose alkalinity, so it will start to drop a little bit. Okay, just kind of a run through underneath the sump while I'm down here. I've got a Bubble Magnus skimmer A5. It's an awesome skimmer. I've never had one before, obviously because I've never really had a tank that hasn't been an all-in-one. This thing kicks butt. Just emptied out the cup, which was pulling some nice, thick, dark skin mates. So if you're looking to go a route here, I ended up getting this one on Black Friday. I think I ended up paying $150 for it on Black Friday. So originally I think it's about $220. Heck of a skimmer. Even though I have it now, I would still pay $220 for it right now after watching its performance just in the short amount of time that I've had it. Up here I've got a BRS dual reactor, GFO and carbon. I'm only running carbon right now. Wasn't going to throw the GFO in there while it was going through its cycle. So I'm going to let the nitrates kind of come down on their own. Not really any phosphate issues right now with my tank. But I will eventually add in some GFO in there as well. Right now I do have a check valve installed, so people there that don't have check valves in your tank, it is a good little redundancy to make sure that your sump does not overflow. I do have my nozzles are pretty close here to the top, so if the water does fall, you'll see that it won't siphon out too much water out of my tank. I think even without the check valve, I still am safe, even if there was a power outage. Let's see here. I do have 2 Jabos DP4s, so I've got 8 things I'm going to be dosing. This is kind of a mess here. I wish there was kind of a way to clear it up, but there's really not. What I'm going to have here is the, I want to say this one up here is going to be pumping. This one's going to be calcium and alkalinity. And then I'm going to do the Red Sea Reef Energy A and B. Which is going to go on these first 2 pumps here on this top one. Down below, I've got 4 more outlets. Or pumps. I'm going to go with the Red Sea color program. So I have the A, B, C, D, which I will be dosing out of that. That one's not going to be pumping as much as the calcium and alkalinity one here. So I'm not going to be dosing magnesium. I'm going to kind of just eye it and probably dose it by hand, because this is something that usually doesn't really need to be dosed all that often. But I do have a trash can underneath here, Rubbermaid, that I use as my auto top off. I do have the filter sock holder here. When I ordered it, it was a little bit bigger than I thought it was going to be. So it's, with the way that my tank's plumbed right now, it doesn't really hold on as well as I want. I'll probably just save it for a different build, and it's resting just fine right there, so I'll probably leave it off. But other than that, I mean, that's about it underneath the tank. I do have a Jabo DC 6000 that I had left over from a build that I was going to do with bigger tank. I am running it on its lowest setting. Definitely don't need that much, but it's okay. I do have it gated down just a little bit, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a 4000 or maybe even a 3000 and run that one here on the 60. I'm going to replace it here, and I'm going to use the 6000 for my fish system that I'm going to be building downstairs in my basement. So that's just a quick look underneath the tank for filtration. Okay, so up top, I know this is probably what you guys want to look at. This tank, almost a month old, so gonna have to really keep my eyes on my water parameters here. There's not going to be any fish going into this one yet. I'm super excited to add fish because I haven't had fish in an aquarium in probably over, it's been 4 years or so. So I'm super excited to get fish in here, but with having to throw stuff into this tank in an emergency, I wasn't sure if it was completely done cycling yet, so I'm just going to wait. Up here I do have 2 AI primes. They are the non-HD version. They are left over from that Nuvo 30 that I had. Seems to be lighting up this tank pretty good. I may eventually upgrade my lighting to something a little bit stronger. May even add a third one. I do like to run my tank a little bit more blue than the average person, so I am just going to be looking for something that's going to add a little bit extra blue pop to my tank. Alright, so the AI primes, I am running 2 Jabo RW8s. Okay, these are pretty big power heads here for this 60 gallon. This one's kind of blocked here behind the rocks. That way I can run it at almost full power and have it diffuse across the rocks. I was blowing my sand all over the place earlier, but now I think I've kind of found my sweet spot. That's about it. I mean, for all my filtration and all my equipment and things like that, I did just recently get a shipment in this morning from Aqua SD. I do got a well sow that's starting to open up here. A couple Zoa frags, a couple A-cans, Fabias, things like that. So some of this stuff is opening up well. I eventually do plan on taking a lot of this stuff off my frag plugs. All this stuff up on the rack right here came from my tank that was downstairs that went through the devastation of the heater breaking. So as you can tell, they're starting to slowly come back. So I am happy about that, and we will see how these guys kind of recover, and hopefully we'll be having them mounted here into the tank onto the rocks here pretty soon. I don't want to have frag plugs here on my tank or in this system just because it just kind of looks tacky and things like that, but obviously I don't really have an option right now as I'm starting to try and build that system downstairs. So this is going to be my first time going into SPS corals here. I've never really ventured out into the world of SPS yet, and I think I was ready. I got a couple beginner SPS acroporas that I'm going to kind of give a shot here and see how they do. So I'll kind of keep you guys updated with that. I do love some of the acropora colonies that Aqua SD has in their live sales. If you guys have not checked them out, give them a quick look during their live sales, because they've got some awesome stuff. So and elegance that I got this morning as well, so that's opening up just nicely. So alright, this has been kind of a long video, but it was kind of a little bit of an introduction of what I'm doing here. So guys, check back I'll hit you guys up. I'm also going to kind of include the fish room build that I'm doing downstairs as well. So this has been it for the 60-gallon first video here. I'll try and keep you guys updated more and more as we go on. Peace.